was when we had TK in studio for the first time, because TK had blown up. And
they're good-looking guys.
And
they sang.
They started in '86, but they didn't set foot in Chicago, I want to say, until '88 or so. So there was like this anticipation. And then when it turned out that they were going to be in studio, the listeners went nuts.
Were you a little starstruck then? Could that have been like, was that, who have you met that was sort of a big artist and made you a little nervous to sit down?
The first time I interviewed Judy Torres, because I interviewed her later, I think the first time I interviewed her might have been '98 or '99. So I had already been doing radio for a while. And Judy was already big, but she wasn't coming to town for some reason. So I had never connected with her. So I was a little awestruck when it came to Judy. The Loose Touches, the George Lamans, not so much because I interviewed them when they were first starting. And they're on my show when my show was first starting. So it wasn't a starstruck
Just rapport
thing.
there, yeah.
Now, I will say, just 2 days ago, I interviewed Adolfo Quiñones, Shabadoo of the Breaking movies. You know who that is, Shabadoo?
I didn't either. I apologize.
Well, and I literally said, this has now become a new radio highlight for me, because the impact that he had on kids back in the mid-'80s with the movies and what he's continued to do with young people, it just never struck me that maybe I ought to interview this guy until recently. And we went to the same grade school. He went to the Boys and Girls Club, and he told a story on the interview about, this mentor at the club, not Harv, somebody else that really had a huge impact on him. He put me on a mission. He wants me to find this guy.
Oh, really?
Shabadoo was 57 years old, and he remembered the guy that taught him how to shoot pool at the club, and he got a little emotional about it when we were talking about it. But when they confirmed that I was going to be able to interview him, then I was like, man, I hope it comes through. Man, I hope it comes through. Now, I've interviewed people who have become big. When people see pictures of me with George Lopez, then they'll say, man, George Lopez, big star, and you're nervous. But no, because when I first interviewed him, he was George Lopez, but he wasn't George Lopez. John Leguizamo was pretty much the same. I probably got a little geeked up interviewing Malcolm Jamal Warner because he had already been Theo.
Yeah.
And I had my son with me, and my son was like, I'm meeting Theo, so that was pretty neat. And in terms of the, I've done so many musical artists that I can't tell you if there's somebody that I was like, man, I'm so glad that, I've always been happy to do interviews, but I can't think of anybody that
Yeah, and real quick, I just wanted to give a shout. Gino Soundwaves, in particular, was who was looking for that kind of info.
He wants to know who was awestruck by it. The actors, because they were not in the freestyle business. Some of the comics that I've interviewed, I've interviewed Paul Rodriguez, and he's huge. People like that, I think, because they're, again, with the freestyle thing, is you and I, we've been friends forever. So a lot of the freestyle acts, most of the freestyle acts that I've interviewed, I've known you guys since you started. So it's not an awestruck moment. It's more that we're both progressing, and achieving things, and I get to be proud of you. But I don't, oh, that's Sandi. I just touched her because you're Sandi.
Have you ever had a radio show, whether it was someone you were interviewing or it was just your regular show, where you had a WTF moment, like something just went horribly awry? I think that was Monica that was wondering if there was any snafus.
Well, I'm not going to say awry, but Judy will remember this. We had
Judy Torres?
Yeah, we had done the old theater with Judy Torres the night before. And of course, I'm the MC, so I bring her back and talk to the fans a little bit. And so she announced to the Oak Theater crowd that she was going to be at WCYC Sunday the next day. And she said, you're all invited. And the Oak Theater was on Armitage and Western Avenue. WCYC was on 28th and Ridgeway. So we're not thinking,
how big is,
people are going to show up.
Head capacity?
And it was Sunday afternoon.
Okay.
So anyhow, Judy shows up for the interview. And the next thing you know, that hallway was filled. Remember that hall that led into WCYC? Yeah. There were probably 75, 80 people.
Wow.
So I opened the interview with Judy, and then she says, you know what? I have to excuse myself. The fans are out there. I want to meet them. I want to sign autographs. So she walked away from the interview to meet with everybody, so I'm playing her music, and I'm
live
talking
interview.
about what's going on.
Okay.
But she wanted to mingle with everybody that showed up.
And she's still like that today.
And she came back, and it was probably 20, 25 minutes later, and she apologized, but she said, all these people came to see me, so I wanted to see them too. So our actual interview, probably not even 15 minutes. And she was there probably for an hour.
Wow.
So to me, that was a powerful thing for two things. We were at a Northside Theater, we're a Southside radio station. It was kind of a comment, if you're going to show up, show up. And how many people are, I don't remember when the old theater used to close back then, but let's just say it was midnight. You know, you're midnight, you're on your feet, you're at this freestyle event, you finally get to go home. Who's really listening when Judy says go to 28th and Ridgeway?
That's right.
75 or so did. To me, that probably, in terms of a show, that might have been the most awestruck moment, only because so many people showed up. And again, back then, there's no online radio. There's no podcasting. It's you, an aluminum foil, and a fork, and a coat hanger trying to catch 90.5 FM.
It really was.
And for that many people to come out, you know, I think about it now, and I didn't shoot interviews of I didn't shoot videos of our interviews back then. I wish I would have, because that probably stands out as the show in terms of on the air. The only one that I guess would have compared is my last show. You know, I did it on the air, announced that it was going to be my last show. I told a couple of people that it was going to be my last show, just so they knew. And then Charlie Baby, Marisa Lopez, Tim Schomer, Eric G, Law, Rochelle, Troy Guy, Joel. I mean, I just named 8 acts that showed up. Exotic Love. There's at least 9 acts that showed up for the last show because it was the last show. And I didn't ask them to come in. I didn't recruit them to come in. I just figured I was going to do this final show, and then I'll say my farewells, and that's it. But they all showed up. And you've seen the pictures. And it wasn't coordinated. They showed up, and then when it was all said and done, we all went to Technical on Chicago Avenue.
I love that restaurant.
Do you?
Delicious.
So you don't want to eat Puerto Rican after this? You want to go to Technical?
No, let's get some authentic Puerto Rican. So we've talked about old school. So quickly, Armando and Serge, kind of a combo question. How do you feel about the music being played on the radio today? What do you think of the new freestyle sound? You just did Mary Reyes, right?
Mary Reyes.
Yeah.
Mary is very cool.
Yeah, she is very cool.
We talk a lot off the air, literally. We call each other a lot. And I have not yet interviewed her. And every time she promotes that
I thought you did interview her.
Every time that she says she's going to be on an interview show, I go, I'm jealous. Because every time we've said we were going to do an interview, it hasn't occurred. Yet, we've talked off the air about a lot of stuff. And one day she's apologizing because, you know, the latest, you know, thing that occurred that we couldn't do the interview. And I said, you know what? If I never get an interview, and all I have is these personal conversations, I'm okay with that. Because to me, that's a friendship. It's not an artist thing. It's a friendship. And I would say the same thing, you know, to you. If we never interviewed again and we stayed friends, then I don't worry about the interview stuff.
Right.
You know, the stuff that we talk about, we used to talk on the phone for hours. Those are the conversations that...
But I'm a little disappointed though, because I reached out to her. I'm like, give me some dirt. Tell me something.
She doesn't know any dirt.
But you said you guys talk all the time.
We do.
She made a comment. She said, this interview thing is about to get rather interestingly caliente. I definitely have to listen to this one. Can I be on three-way? Ha ha ha.
Well, if it were live, it would have been nice. You know, Marie's interesting because I like her music.
So do I.
We traded numbers because we were going to do an interview. And we just became friends, we had conversations that have never happened.
Well, so you like Marie's music. How about other new style?
Well, there's no new style.
It does sound a little rehashed still.
What was it, the Black Eyed Peas, the Can You Feel the Beat, or Lisa, and
Sure.
sampled into the music. You know, the music that's out now, you would listen to Lady Gaga and tell me that would have been freestyle if there was a label to it. There are songs of hers that blatantly sound, you know, freestylish. I do like what's that, Elemental P, LMA.
Laughing my hair off.
I do like them. I do like their music because it reminds me.
So you like that little dubstep breakdown in the...
I don't know what it's called. I don't know if it's dubstep or two-step or whatever. All I know is that I like it. So I do like some of the new stuff. I like when people like Judy and George experiment with different sounds, even though, you know, sometimes people go, why don't you just do your freestyle? Like, well, you probably get it too. You know, you dabble in other forms of music besides freestyle.
I love electronic music and dub, and I put stuff out there on my Facebook, and I get crickets.
And the fans are like, well, when are you doing another freestyle song? I mean, George comes up with Don't Start Believing, which I thought he did a killer version of it, and then, you know, he has to prod people into singing along in Studio 63. The bad news is, you know, freestyle is a form of music that's considered to be, you know, classic, you know, 20, 25 years old. And they want the artist to continue that style of music, but if you're going to crack a Billboard chart, if you're going to get radio play, then you need to do something a little bit different. The interesting thing is that the acts now, the newer acts, they're going back to music that they grew up with, and they're putting elements of that into the new music. And people think it's new. And you feel the beat is not new.
Or even the Pitbull song with the baby.
Yeah, well Pitbull, I like Pitbull.
Have you ever got to speak to him, meet him?
No, and he would be one that I probably would say, oh wow, I'm talking Pitbull.
Okay.
He's not somebody that I saw grow up.
Yeah, who's on your bucket list? Oh, as far as who you would like to interview?
That's a good question. I don't know if I have one.
Okay.
If it came down to just the one, then Madonna would probably be the one. Only because I was playing everybody, her club stuff, before she grew up. And I liked her stuff. I forgot there was another song she did besides Everybody back then. And I did 12-inch on Sire Everybody. I got the thing. And then Borderline and Lucky Star and videos later, she's Madonna. But her roots were in dance music. And if you listen to Everybody, pretty much a freestyle song. It wasn't labeled at the time. You know, I would love to sit and talk with her about her roots and going from Detroit to New York with however many dollars she had in her pocket to the person that she is now, 53 years old, and still commanding the respect that she commands. She made boys retire their belly shirts from the video. Belly shirts. Think about it. Chauncey from Happy Days, belly shirt. Revenge of the Nerds, all the guys, all the jocks, belly shirts, and then here comes Madonna, and she took it.
Speaking of, Laura Hernandez, who gave me a quick message right when I got here with you, she said, she didn't have a question, but she said I should mention something about the freckled belly button obsession you have?
There's not a freckled belly obsession. Laura used to be one of us at WCYC, and there was a listener who, under the guise of wanting to become a student, started showing up to the studios, and she was talking about all her freckles. She lifted her shirt to show that she had freckles even on her belly. And Laura was there, and Laura, this other girl whose name I won't say, she used to write these She Loves Harv types of things, and it got to the point where I decided she couldn't be a student anymore because she was more into this weird obsession, for lack of a better term, than wanting to be a student. But she flashed me her freckles, and Laura forever
ran with it.
Yeah. And every time she mentions that term, it brings me memories that are not always good.
Makes you cringe a little bit.